Hi guys, it's Emma, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then nice to meet you. I'm a singer-songwriter musician-y type, and this is where the music happens. I say that because I have another channel where I say the chaos happens, and basically I just post whatever I want on there. It's a hobby type channel that I mostly just do to make myself do art and craft projects and stuff, because then I film them and I put them up there. If you want to check that out when you're done here, feel free to. It'll be linked in the description and on the end screen as always. But if you're looking for my musical pursuits, my serious musical pursuits, then you are in the right place. She says, about to do yet another not that amazingly serious video that's basically just an update. If you've followed this channel for a little while, you remember a couple of months ago, I forget exactly when, I posted this video that was letting you guys know that I'd taken up violin again for the first time in 9 years. Yes, nine. I couldn't believe it had been 9 years. That makes me feel old. I'm not old, but that makes me feel old that was a decade ago. But yeah, I used to play violin as a kid, basically, and I stopped when I was 16. Basically, when I left school, I stopped. It wasn't something that was a priority for me at the time, and I always thought I'd come back to it, and then I never got round to it until now. But if you remember, I mentioned in that video that I wasn't sure if this this desire to play violin again was something that would last, because I have a tendency, a bit more than a tendency, I have a personality trait where I will pick up random new hobbies or revisit an old hobby and think that this time this is going to be one of the permanent ones that sticks, because there are a couple that have stuck over the years. But yeah, so it's always a bit of a will this stick whenever I think about investing in a new hobby. So when I started thinking about wanting to play violin again, I didn't want to buy an expensive violin, and I didn't want to buy a cheap one that I would end up needing to replace in a few months if I did stick at it. So I ended up tweeting about it and wound up being offered a violin to use, and because of that I took up violin again, and I made a whole video showing you guys how terrible I sounded, and I mentioned in that video that I would update you guys. Now, a little fib, because I did say in that video I would update you guys when I could play a particular song, this one, Oh Mio Bambino Caro. I think I said Bambino in the last video. Oh Mio Bambino Caro out. Anyway, I'm sure someone out there is really annoyed that I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Oh mio bambino caro. It's more fun to say the other way. I told you guys I'd update you when I could play this to a decent level. It's not terrible. I can play it all the way through and it's passable. I certainly can't play it at the right speed still, because the right speed is actually really, really slow, which you would think is not hard. You'd think fast is hard, but actually I generally find faster easier on the violin, because I find it a lot easier to bow consistently when I'm going at a decent pace. Trying to hold long notes on the bow, like dragging it slowly down like that, or slowly up is a nightmare. And a bunch of these long notes in this are up bows, and I hate doing long up bows. I don't, because you can let your arms sort of fall that way, but you're not falling going that way. So I don't know how to, because that was the main piece of advice my violin teacher gave me for improving my bowing, was to let your arm fall. I was like, right, what do I do about the up bows though? Because that's not falling, that's rising. What do we do then? Probably not going to happen anytime soon. I will probably at some point put up a video of me just playing this song when I get it to a point where I can play it, but I haven't been practicing it as much, which is why it hasn't improved that much. Like, it's improved, but it's not improved that much. And also because I have another update for you, which is that I've switched to a new violin. I'm getting used to the new violin again, and because of that, all of my pieces currently have gone backwards a little bit in terms of getting the notes in tune. So I will post a little update of what this currently sounds like. I did a little recording of my practice session earlier, and I'll include clips from that. But I haven't been playing this one that much. I've been focusing more on 3 things. One is scales and arpeggios, and I've been doing a lot of this piece out of this book that I have. This one, and there's another one over there that I've got that I think is a Vivaldi, if I remember correctly, were the things I was working on with my teacher before I left. You can tell because there's a nice big tick that tells you I, at one stage, got this good enough that my violin teacher said we can stop doing that one now. Doesn't sound that good now, for certain. So what this is, this book, you can see it says étude. Study. It's basically, because it's the same in French, is étude, it means study. It's studies, basically. So there's 36 studies. You can see it's translated there, 36 studies. But basically, there are things that these pieces have in them that are good things to practice. So this one that I'm doing currently, it's in a key that doesn't have any sharps or flats in it, but you might be able, I don't know if you guys can see, there are little sharps in here throughout, and also because of that there are natural signs, because it changes whether the F in particular is sharp or not. So you get random sharps getting thrown in places, which is a good thing to practice because that helps practice your dexterity when you get used to being in, because if you get used to playing in one key, your fingers pretty much are in the same positions throughout. So then practicing switching up the positions suddenly and not being sharp or flat on a note, like actually getting it in tune, not like, because obviously you want to play a sharp note sharp, but you don't want to play it sharper than it should be. That's really good practice because it's hard. It's also got a lot of using the fourth finger instead of the open string, because on violin you get open, first, second, third finger are your notes on each string. Once you put the fourth finger down, that's the next open string up. So using the fourth finger instead of the open string is something that you will sometimes do for aesthetic in a piece, because you get a different sound out of using the fourth finger than you do the open string. But also using the fourth finger, not that easy because it's played with your little finger, and your little finger, it's a bit weak, not gonna lie. So that's another good thing to practice. So that's why I've been doing this one, because I really want to practice things that are going to get techniques down a bit more. So I'm going to probably just be working my way through this book slowly now, practicing those. But I'm enjoying it. It sounds quite good. I'll put in a little clip of me playing sections of it. I cannot play it all the way through yet without messing up. It's too hard. It's too hard to play it all the way through without messing up yet, because you get past this middle section. I mean, this section's not great here because there's the sharp, sharp, sharp. Use the fourth finger to play the note above what the fourth finger should play. That one's really fun. There's no piece that I can say I've improved, but I definitely think my violin playing has improved, since obviously it has. I would be pretty ashamed of myself if I'd been playing it for 2 months at this point and I still sounded like I'd only just picked it up for the first time in 9 years again. But you can't hear the improvement as much as you might if I just stuck to doing that one piece. But the reason I've been doing that, focusing on technique and stuff, is because the other thing that I did the other day randomly was I had my first go at trying to write a violin piece for one of the songs, and I quite like how it's coming out so far. But yeah, I've been focusing a lot on that because obviously I've got a month now. It's 1 month to go before I'm back in the studio. If I'm going to play violin on these pieces, which I am, because I couldn't afford to buy a violin and also hire someone to do violin, and I've bought a violin now, so we're gonna use it. Then I need to actually get something written that I can practice for the next 3 weeks. I really don't want to go in with only a week's practice of whatever I'm going to play. I should definitely get stuff written. Anyway, let's go on to the fun bit of the video, because obviously I was playing on my mate Joanne's violin, which is still with me. I need to arrange getting that back to her. You know, she has to have it back now because I bought a violin. I did a little TikTok for you guys, but I wanted to do a proper video where you actually say hello. It needs a name. I'm feeling a more of a feminine name than a masculine name, I think. And if anybody has any ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments, because it takes me a while to name things, really. But I like to name all my instruments because they're important to me. It took me ages to work out how to open this, because it has a little flick it. You have to flick this bit down to get this to pop out. And it took me ages to work out. I was like, what? How do I press it? Do I push it up? What do I do? This is my new violin. It cost me like 520 quid. And can we just appreciate the fact that it comes in a case? It's in one of my colours. Look at that lovely tealy green. Oh, stunning, isn't it? Isn't it stunning? Love it. So here is my new... Here is my new violin. Gorgeous colour. Just enough orange to the got that nice shine. I quite like the colour on the back. I think it's really pretty. And obviously, sounds a lot better because obviously a 500 quid violin is going to be better than the little student model I was using. And you can probably tell when I hold it up that it's a full size, so it's bigger. I hadn't realised how much I was struggling on the 3/4 and how my fingers were too close together until I played this, and it just felt more natural. The gap between the spacing between my fingers now feels like, because one of the tricks is you're supposed to work out where your first note is. You're supposed to be able to put your hand there like that. That's how you hold the violin, like that. And then you just curl your first finger down, and that should be your first note. It's interesting looking at it from this angle, because obviously I've been looking at it from that angle loads, so I can't really tell how far apart my fingers actually are. Definitely much more comfortable to play. Also, the shoulder rest actually fits this violin, so it doesn't move, which is nice. So it's a lot easier for me now to, like, I've been able to do hours of practice on this and not be in as much pain. I was in a lot of pain trying to practice on the other one for longer than like 30 minutes. It started to really hurt, especially here, because I couldn't hold it properly because the shoulder rest kept moving. Anywho, that's my new violin. Very pretty, very pretty. And like I said, you'll be able to hear in the clips how things are going with the playing. I just wanted to jump on and do an update. And again, I will post future updates as well. So if you want to see those, then you should hit that subscribe button so that you know when those videos come up. I usually post other types of content on here. Mainly it's me singing, doing songwriting stuff, doing production stuff, which is another thing I'm trying to teach myself because I want to get more into the songwriting and production side of the music industry. So that's mainly what I do on this channel most of the time, is songwriting related stuff, the occasional cover here and there. And live streams that usually are on Tuesdays but currently are on Wednesdays because Bake Off. If you would like to keep up with my general pursuits, then you can check out my social media, which will all be linked in the description below. And if you'd like to support me in other ways, i.e. money, you know, money that I then go and spend on things like this. But if you would like to support me monetarily, I also have a Buy Me a Coffee page where I post like behind the scenes content and stuff like that. Once I'm done with the challenges I've set myself this month, one of the things I want to sort out is different levels, a cheaper level and a more expensive level, and coming up with specialized content just for that, for people to get their money's worth out of it. So any ideas for that would be very welcome. But yeah, if you want to support me on there, it'll be linked in the description below. And I shall see you guys next week with an update to the Bad Guy song recording. That's what we got for you next week. But for now, I'll say toodles. Bye!